When I met her in Philadelphia, and she wore red every day. You know what it's like when somebody wears red every day? Or just any one color every day, with yellow accents. It's special, you notice it. And and I really love her. And I came home one night, and I was really surprised, and I was heartbroken. And I know you probably expect this to be a story about falling in love with somebody, but both of my parents were engineers, and this is really a story about bicycles. And it really goes back to when I was small. I was maybe 8 years old, and it was time where I was moving around a lot, and my parents were like, you know what, you should move around a lot. And so my parents went out looking for a bicycle, and they got one. It was kind of like an arranged marriage, I suppose. And I had a bicycle, and it's like, when you're first learning how to be with somebody, you do things, you're figuring it out, right? It's relationships, and you'll do things like ride around and then just leave them on the wet grass and walk away, and you don't know that's not cool. Do things like that. Or you'll also get hurt. Like you'll be biking along and it'll be dark and you'll be moving fast, and then you'll like hit something and you'll get a scar on your elbow for the rest of your life. Like some people I know, me. And that's how you learn things. And then I got a lot taller, and our lives were really not going on the same path. It was obvious, so we weren't into that. And my parents went out looking for a car. And they found a car, and I had a car, and I had a whole car phase. Some of you might have had that, where you'd had different kinds of relationships for a while. I was even in college, and I had a bicycle, and it was kind of fun sometimes to have a bicycle. Like that. But I really didn't treat that very well. I remember I'd walk out of Kittredge Commons, the dorm I was staying in, and be heading up to my car, that beautiful car up there. And right over here would be the bike I had locked up and forgotten about for about 6 months. And I remember checking back like, oh, right, that bike that I care about, where is it? And the chain is rusty, it doesn't run anymore. And that's what happens in college when my relationship with the bikes. I was a real jerk to bikes in college. And I got older, and one day I was like, you know what, I think cars and me really aren't it. So I went out looking for a bike again. I was older, I was in grad school, and I should have this. And I was like, what should I do? I'm freshly back to this. I've learned things from my past. I'll have a starter bike. Like that, right? So I went out to Walmart, and I was like, I should get the cheapest bike, right? That's a great idea. Okay, this is what happens when you get the cheapest bike. Has anybody bought the cheapest bike ever? From Walmart? No, really. Has anybody done this? Oh, you're all going to learn something right now. Okay, so this is what it's like. Think of all the parts on a bike made cheaper. Everyone, including like how it shifts and how it brakes. Like the brake pads, instead of being this big, are this big. And then when I would ride my bike, it would shake like this. Until I was like, I shouldn't ride this bike. Brought it back and got the second cheapest bike, and that was fine. And then I moved to Philadelphia, and I went out looking for a bike, because I've grown up, and I think I'm ready for a real bike relationship now. And I met her in Firehouse Bicycles, West Philadelphia. She was red, and she had yellow handlebars. She was a road bike, and she went so fast. And I was with her the whole time, and it really was like a first love. Like no kidding. Like when you fall in love with something after other stuff that you're like, yeah, that was fun. Relationships. This is love. I fell in love with that bike, people. Okay. And it wasn't always great. Like she was a road bike and had skinny tires that like went flat on the potholes of Philadelphia. But I didn't care. I loved that bike. And I, still had things to learn about relationships with bicycles. I came home one night and I walked up to my place at 4517 Spruce Street. And I went, oh, there's my bicycle. And actually, my bicycle was missing both of its tires. And it was just lying there. And I looked at it and quickly figured out, what had happened. But I unlocked the bike and brought it inside and was really just hurt then. It's like something I loved had been injured. It would have been better if it just had completely disappeared and I could be like, oh, okay, just go on to something else. But I had this injured thing that I loved. And I've grown up and I moved to San Francisco and I went out looking for a bike, and I had just ended a 3-year relationship with one bike. And I'm going back to sort of an old relationship with a bike, with a previous bike. And I have to confront sometimes really falling in love with it, and then locking it up at places like 14th and Mission, and walking inside to go do fun things when I'm apart from her, and hoping that that's there when I come back. And that's what it's like to love things. And I'm glad I love these things. And that's what I have to say. Love hurts.